Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Spence.
Good morning.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
And Nick is here.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello. And of course, Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Our number is 919-518-9773, Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by Vimix Software, DudeInIT.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. So what is going on?
I ordered a new iPhone.
No, you did not.
I did.
13?
No. SE. I'm not spending that kind of money.
And you're replacing
My old 7, which is tired and worn and needs a battery, and I'm not gonna fool around with it.
I've been seeing the T-Mobile advertisement. They said that now when you get a line, you get an iPhone 12 on them.
Oh, yeah.
Companies always run those stupid promotions.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll get there. To the where we're going to make a change, but it's just too many things in motion right now to try to do it. But what I really needed was just my battery just was not.
Oh, that's a feature.
Yeah. But the fact that it was an older phone, the iPhone SE actually has an A13 processor in it. So it's the 7 with an A13 processor, which is nice. Oh, the 14 is the latest one, I think.
I don't know.
14 or 15.
I'm not familiar with the iPhone.
Well, my i7 only had like a A11 in it. It was old. So
I'm in desperate need of a new iPhone. Well,
why?
Didn't you get one? I thought you got a new one.
I'm still rocking an iPhone 8.
Oh, I thought you were going to get a new one a while ago.
I've been thinking about it. It's just that thing of when do you want to pull the trigger to drop $1,000 on a phone? There's never a good time for it. So,
well, look into T-Mobile.
No, because it's a scammy. It's not a scam, but it's a scammy promotion.
I mean, whenever they give you something, they expect something back.
I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it's a scam. There are so many terms and conditions that are associated with those promotions. Like, for example, because a while back I looked at switching, and it was only if you brought 3 lines over. I don't have 3.
Really?
Lines, so that, I mean, there's terms. They're not just going to throw you $1,000 phone for your $40 a month cell phone bill.
I would. That's good economics.
Yeah. Great economics for them to. Yeah, exactly. It's just there are a lot of terms and conditions with those. They could have changed now, but either way, I'm not switching provider. So,
besides, you also have to agree to breaches.
I mean, everybody's breaches are kind of useless arguments at this point. Everybody's doing the breach, Amnon. Get with the time. The kids are all doing it.
Yeah.
Nick, I have a solution for your iPhone question. You just have to go get a job at Apple.
You
get a free
know,
phone.
I could do. I guarantee you they don't. Do they give you free phones at Apple?
Well, when my son worked at the store, he had really good deals.
Interesting.
I'm not sure. I think he had access to, if he needed to use the phone, they would give him one. But go work at corporate here in Raleigh with the new.
Well, I mean, I could do I get off the radio show at 9 a.m. I could drive
That's it.
2 hours up to Raleigh, start work at noon,
You can afford a helicopter. Come on.
work from noon to 8 p.m., drive 2 hours back,
No, work
get to
for
bed by 11.
No, it
up
would
at
be no
3.
noon. There would be no noon to 8 p.m. You'd be like noon to 3 in the morning. And then you'd have to fly back.
Well, it'd need to be noon to 1 in the morning so I could drive my 2 hours to get down here by 3.
That's
you
why
can-
somebody
you can
needs
work
to
from
You
invest-
know,
home.
I'll just get I'll just buy $1,000 phone. That seems like the better deal.
Yeah, you
in this
did it
whole-
before.
What do you mean?
How much did you pay for the 8? It was
Yeah, it was probably $1,000, but
Yeah.
it was also
Yeah.
20. I don't even know when the iPhone came out, to be honest with you.
fine.
Yeah, I mean, there's just never the reason I haven't done it yet is because my phone still works.
Right
It'll
on.
eventually get to the point where it doesn't work, and then it's a simple
So
solution.
why did you say desperately need a new one?
Because I've got some of the same battery issues that Spence has,
Oh.
but it's not to the point yet where it makes the phone unusable.
You might
when
be also in the battery thing, that the new protocol that Apple put in place.
I missed out on that. It doesn't. It's not for the 8.
Yeah, it's not for the
I've had this
7
phone
either, but-
since I've had this phone since 2017. It's a long time for a phone.
Yeah, I've had mine about that long, although I had mine replaced because of the bad battery.
Yeah.
But still, it's, yeah.
That's a
Well-
good. You talk about $1,000 investment over 4 years. The amount of time you use it, it's not an expensive thing. I mean, I know the sticker shock of $9.99 for a new phone is a lot for a lot of people, but you think about how often you use it. Cost. You're talking about literally less than a penny a day for.
It's, for me,
4 years.
it's a laptop replacement
Oh yeah,
because I can do things on it. You know, when I worked in Alaska, I would have to keep track of my hours. And before I had a phone that could run, I was able to convert an Excel spreadsheet to a numbers spreadsheet to use on my phone. And I would go in, I have to do projections on hours and have to track my time and all that right there on my iPhone. Just put it in, full spreadsheet, add my hours to do the calculations I needed, and have to go home and use my laptop every night to try to figure out my hours. So it worked great. And I've continued to use that. I have a bunch of files on there that I keep securely on my phone, and everything gets backed up. So
Nice.
I still need my laptop. I mean, obviously I need for like doing PowerPoints or whatever.
so
and
the
the
12
video-
is the current.
The video editing capabilities of even the iPhone 7, incredible. I mean, compared to, you could snap together a video in no time, professional looking with fade in, fade out, voiceover, everything.
Gal, you said
Easier
something?
than I could do on my laptop.
Gal, did you say something?
No?
All right. So,
So,
about
I just looked at. Sorry.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
no,
looked at
go
it. Trading in my 8 Plus, it would be $819 straight up.
it's worth, or that's what you would have to pay.
No, they'll give me about 180. They'll give me about $180 for my phone. But, I mean,
That's
you're still
not-
talking about a after taxes, you're still talking about a $900 purchase,
Which 12 would you get?
just the regular 12. Because the 8 Plus is a 6.3 inch screen and the 12 is a 6.1, I think. But it also doesn't have it, the older ones that Spence and I have still have the bezels on the top and the bottom, and the new phones just don't have that.
Another reason I went with the SE was because it's the same size screen and the cases I have work.
Yeah, I like
I don't want a bigger, because I carry my phone with me on my hip during the day. And I have it in a really good case because when I work, I would destroy my phone. I drop it. It's stuff that happens. The phone survived because of the case I have. So I'm going to keep using that same OtterBox case.
Oh, that's interesting, Nick. I guess they know what the phone is actually worth because
they can pull it into their shop, probably throw a new battery in it, and then sell it used for $400 or something. I don't know.
Or use it for a replacement for
parts.
Apple Care.
Yeah,
because you get a refurb phone when you get a
because
replacement.
it's in great shape. I mean, there's no cracks, no scratches, no dents. It's just old.
When we switched, T-Mobile gave us $580 for the iPhone 6 or 7. I don't remember what hand I had. And I asked him, I said, so you turn around and you sell it? He said, no. We check it, and if it's okay, then we'll sell it in bulk to some supplier, and if it's not, we just trash it.
They send them to third world countries where they're sold sold that way.
Yeah. But talking about T-Mobile, that incident that they had with the breach is the fourth known breach at T-Mobile since 2018. And by far the largest. The full account of how many customers had their data stolen is unclear, still unclear. But the company said last week it had identified more than 53 million affected customers. Most of them on subscription plans. It also included an unspecified number of prospective users who are not T-Mobile customers. Now, it is unclear why T-Mobile was storing customers' driver's license information and social security numbers without encrypting them in a way that would make it difficult or impossible for hackers to see them even if they stole them. This is what Jackie Singh, cybersecurity consultant, said. And it was irresponsible on the part of T-Mobile, especially for hard-to-change sensitive personal data like social security numbers. It is frankly bizarre to learn that in this day and age, a major telco continues to store critical customers' data in plain text. And offering 2 years of credit monitoring services doesn't change the fact that harm was done to their customer base. I never understood, and I still don't understand, why so many entities ask you for your social security number. Sure, it's a unique number, but there are other unique numbers.
Would it be, for example, when I went and ordered my Apple, I ordered my phone from Apple. It was the same price.
Yeah.
And if you order through Apple and you want to have it pre-configured, you go through an identification process where you put in your phone number and some other information, so they verify that it's you, and then they send you a text message to confirm. Well, which didn't help for me. If it depends on whether my phone was. What if your phone isn't working and you want to replace your phone?
Then go to the store.
No, I don't. I did it last night. I'm fine. I just sent myself a text message. I confirmed who I was, and I can order it pre-configured with a SIM card. So all I have to do is turn it on, and it's already backed up, so I can just restore my data on the set.
Are you talking about going to an Apple store?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go.
Well, Emma, that's easier said than done.
Yes, I know. I thought about it after I said
you live in if you live in a city, sure. The closest Apple store for me is damn near 2.5 hours away.
Yeah, it's in South Point.
Even that today you need an appointment, and
you can't walk in and get help.
I will say this: in areas where there is not an Apple store, and it might also be in areas where there is one, but in areas where there's not, Best Buy I don't want to say they contract with Apple, but
Well, they are. They're an authorized repair center.
they're an authorized repair center, but specifically in areas where there's not an Apple store, Best Buy, I think, offers more services on behalf of Apple than I'm sure they do in the Triangle.
Well, here in the store in Cary, they have an Apple representative in the store.
They have the
selling Macs. I mean, they're not selling phones.
Macs. Yeah. I had a friend that had an issue with a phone. It was probably about a year ago, and she was all stressed out about it, how she was going to have to go up to Raleigh to deal with the issue. And after she talked with another Apple representative, they said, "Hey, we have a Best Buy here, and we can offer these certain services because of your, not close proximity to an Apple store." But I don't know if that's uniform or just a case-by-case basis, or depending on what the store has in stock or what the techs at the store are capable of. I'm not sure.
I can tell you that the Verizon store, iPhone SEs were 3 to 4 weeks back ordered. And then Apple, I ordered it and it's going to be here tomorrow.
So wait a second, Spence. We start talking about Social Security numbers, and you were talking about.
Oh, Social Security. The part of the process was, it said when I was clicking to let my phone be pre-configured and sent to me with a SIM card, it said, this will contact your carrier, in this case Verizon, and they will do a credit check on you. And well, if I'm buying the phone outright, why do I have to have a credit check?
Yeah.
Wait, they still did a credit check on you?
Well, they did. They said it won't affect your credit score, but it still shows up as a ding. Yeah, still shows up as a ding on your. Why? I'm buying it outright. I paid for it already.
Yeah, you paid cash. What the hell?
Yes. Why do And I noticed something the other day. Filled out a form for something.
What if you have a lock?
You have to unlock it.
So they're going to do a credit check, right? You're telling her, "Hey, I'm buying it outright. It doesn't really matter what my score is." And you have a lock on it.
Oh, I do. I have all my credits locked.
Right. So did you open the lock for her credit check?
No.
So
tough. I mean,
maybe.
Yeah. So they wasted money, right? Because it costs them to do the credit check.
Yes.
And you, in advance, you told her no need to, but she insisted.
No, this is an automated process.
Yeah, I'll bet that was just a canned message that they probably wouldn't do it. I would say they wouldn't do it because you're paying.
No, but I'm sure it's just part of for every purchase they just do a credit. What they
again and again and again.
How many phones are you buying?
No.
I remember I went to get antibodies test at Walgreens, not Walgreens, at Harris Teeter Pharmacy. And it was on the application, one of my Social Security number.
Yeah, and I don't fill it.
I don't understand.
There's a lot of applications. I just I don't put the number. If they want the number, I ask why. And if it doesn't make sense, I tell them no. It's as simple as that.
I'm sure our stuff is out there in worse form than we even know. But that's no reason to give them more.
Yeah, but to minimize it is a good thing,
Gal, this is not a tech question. Do you get a Social Security card because of you got one because of your visa status?
So if you
How does that work?
are allowed to work in the States, you can get a Social Security number.
Not you can, you have to.
Do they give it to you, or do you have to go and get one?
No, you need to go to the Social Security office, fill a form, show the visa and all that, and a week later you get the card, something like that.
Because when you're I don't know how it works. When you're born in the U.S., you just automatically get one, right?
No. When I was young, my parents got one. Well,
you have to remember
how old I was
for one.
Yeah,
I got one when I was a kid.
It's not apply. I think your parents, they get it as part of the issuing the birth certificate.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's just they just generate it because it's
and that's new. Yeah. That's new because when my kids were small, we had to apply for them and get the cards.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Remember, the Social Security number, right? That's a federal process. So anything you get from the state, which is the birth certificate, you get from the state. It's not a federal. I'm not sure it's a federal document. the birth certificate. So, right, there's all that about that. So maybe there is an application process, but it's probably automated today.
Well, I mean, to go back to the problem here of keeping that stuff in plain text, I accept credit card payments. And I am not allowed to keep any numbers of the card other than the last four, and not allowed to keep CVV numbers. And if I'm caught saving them somewhere, they'll snatch my ability to accept credit cards, and I don't know what other punitive steps they can take. But I mean, this is what
sure. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure that the black and white lettering of the agreements, even with T-Mobile, is exactly the same. Right?
Well, then they should really.
They're larger and they get away with it.
Well, they should. Then they should. They should
strip the right to process credit cards.
Yeah, right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
They're such a cash cow for the credit card companies that they won't do it, even though they are violating every fiber, right, of the process. So,
and when institutions use it just to confirm your identity, what's the last four numbers of your social? I'll ask you that.
Yeah.
And why, in some cases, they're financial institutions and they may need to know that for other reasons or interest.
Now,
here's the thing. So here's the thing, right?
Not IRS.
We are now living, like 15 years after Google was invented, 20 years after Google was invented, right? In that time, we got developments like OAuth, and we got like strong authentication methods that do not require that after you provide your first set of credentials, you never use them again, right? Because the systems, they interchange, they handshake, right, on a very unique set of credentials just for that interaction, and it can't be reused for other interactions. How come this is not the norm, right, with the government? This is not the norm with banking. That's the problem, right? How come we do a transaction with a credit card, and yes, I'm okay with a company like T-Mobile to keep my to keep some sort of record about my payment method, because they're going to charge me again and again and again and again going forward, right? But it just doesn't need to be the number I present when I go to the store. It needs to be some sort of seed based on that it only belongs to this, right? That something that can be invalidated. And the same goes to Social Security number, right? That should no longer be the thing that you give. You need to give, a public key, right, that is generated just for them. There needs to be a method, and it's not like, oh, you can't do it because it's going to confuse people. No, it's going to be simple, because you're going to have, a phone app where you just snap a QR, right, and it generates another QR or something, and that's it. It's like, the method is already there. We do it with a lot of other stuff, but not with the stuff that is really important. This is what kills me. This is the part that it's like everybody's talking about those breaches, right? Hey, those breaches are going to continue. Just make it so that whatever is in the breach is never something that can be used against you. That's all.
Right. And there are ways to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If they put their mind to it, they'll be able to create that condition that, okay, well, so there was a breach.
Yeah. And
easiest thing to do is just to stop using money.
That's an important thing to note, though. A breach is by nature something that will happen. It doesn't matter how good the security is
Exactly.
for the most part.
But it's not will happen, has happened. Just we're
And
finding out about it a year later.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's the frustrating
That too.
part is, I don't care how good, I don't care how many millions of dollars you spend on security. The likelihood of breach or the possibility of breach is always there. So going on to what Gal said, yeah, exactly. Like, this is going to happen inevitably. So why don't you take measures to
Right.
handle?
change the way that it's done.
Yeah. For some reason, and I would expect the credit cards companies to be the leads of this.
Well, I think
In the case of credit card theft, when people buy something, who really pays? Who's the one who's really on the hook for
All
that
they
loss?
do,
Is it the
and they have
retailer?
done it.
no,
it's the credit card company. They are
yeah,
the
but it's
insurer of
us,
the transaction.
everybody.
So is that why stores are not that concerned? I know stores are very concerned about theft because people steal thousands of stuff out of stores every day.
Right.
But when it's credit card fraud, you buy something. And remember the old scam where you ship it to another address,
Yeah.
and you just have somebody waiting there to pick it up.
Right. So the store, all they care about is the due diligence that the credit company is requiring of them. Because if they didn't do that, right, then they are not insured. And we, as consumers, we are insured. I mean, that's part of the benefit of using a credit card, right? It's safe money,
which has worked well for me in the past.
Yeah, because there are situations where somebody gets a hold of that number and something is done, right? And credit companies, they cover you. That's the main reason the store is also pretty okay with them taking a chunk of the payment, right? The store doesn't use this credit company for free, so that insurance is on them. So the stores, they pay the percentage, and that covers the insurance that the credit company covers, and so it's not on us, and it's not directly on the store either.
Yeah, that's a good point about the fees that they collect go towards. Yeah.
That's why we get those points, right? It's all about those fees and coverage and right, providing foot traffic to the stores and all that. So
they're operating on the same basis that, well, if it happens, it's fine. We'll pay something. It's not like, let's make sure that it doesn't happen. Because when you, and knock on wood, I never had identity stolen. I don't know anybody that did, that had it. But it's not that simple to get from under. You're still suffering. And
Did I tell you about what my brother-in-law is going through now with Home Depot?
Yeah.
It's still going on. He was process served, and had to hire a lawyer for $1,000.
Yeah.
He's going to try to recover the cost of this. Is that they already know that the first incident was identity theft, was fraud. But the second incident, they're treating it as though he did it.
Yeah.
And it's $30,000 worth of goods were purchased in his name at a Home Depot, at a store he's never been to, in a state he didn't live in. And they're still going after him now.
Sounds like he needs to sue.
He is. He's suing. And LifeLock was useless.
Which is terrible, right? It shouldn't be that way, but yeah.
Yep.
I got a little video from my cousin yesterday about a person who's going back to the ID issuing department and said, you guys made a mistake. We need to change it. And she said, sit down, sir. What's the problem? And he goes, well, you issued me an ID card, and the sex is wrong. She said, "What do you mean, sir?" And he said, "You put here that I'm a female." She says, "So what's the problem, ma'am?" and everything he's trying, he said, "You look at me." She said, "I don't judge people by the way they look." And it was, I mean, she said, "Oh, then you have to fill up these forms and change of sex and all that." And you know, that's the thing. It was funny, but this is exactly what happens. They, even if you are not to blame, you are being put through so many uncomfortable situations and procedures that it's, well, you know, yeah, well, what is it going to cost me now? Yeah, $30,000. I don't know, but it's, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And again, to keep it and keep it in plain text, that somebody needs their ass chewed and whipped. Anyway,
That would be a good name for a law firm.
what?
Ass chewer and ass chewer.
Yeah, attorneys at law.
Attorneys at law.
I could see a great billboard.
I would go for, if I had to choose between that and a bunch of other billboards, I'd choose that one.
Yeah, the
But
attorney
obviously
offices of Joe Ass Chewer and Steve Ass Whooper.
All right, good. We got the lighter thing. Now, let's change direction here. Windows 11. We were talking
Yes.
about how you're going to have, what do they call it? The new,
TPM, Trusted Platform Module.
Microsoft is announced last week that it won't block people from installing Windows 11 on most older PCs. While the software maker has recommended hardware requirement from Windows 11, which it's largely sticking to, restrictions to install the OS will only be enforced when you try to upgrade from Windows 10 to Windows 11 through Windows Update. This means that anyone with a PC with an older CPU that doesn't officially pass the upgrade test can still go ahead and download an ISO file of Windows 11 and install the OS manually. Does
But
that
you
make
still
sense?
need TPM.
Huh? It doesn't have.
You're still going to need TPM.
Well, I don't know. They're not talking
Yes, you
about-
will, because Windows 11 cannot run without Trusted
But
Platform.
the thing here is you have to be you have to pass all their tests if you're upgrading.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah,
their
but
system requirements. Yeah.
But
That's
if you
no
but,
different
but
to the upgrade to 10, by the way. There are a lot of PCs, right, that you could install Windows 10 manually,
Mhm.
but if you had Windows 7 or Windows 8 installed already and it didn't pass some sort of test, right, it wouldn't upgrade in place.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that happened to the laptop. I had actually we still use that laptop, a Lenovo laptop that we have. We bought it with Windows 7. I upgraded it to Windows 8. I think we bought it with Windows 7. You know what? I don't remember.
It probably had an option for 8.
No, I
when-
think yeah. So when it came out, Windows 8 wasn't out, but it was ready. So right, because it's a touch screen. So we upgraded to Windows 8. Windows 10 came out, and I said, okay, let's upgrade it because it was a free upgrade and all that. The in-place upgrade never worked. But you could download the medium, to a
Mhm.
USB and install it, and it works. It works fantastic. Works better than the Windows 8 that was on it. So
Well, the article goes on to say that Microsoft announced its Windows 11 minimum hardware requirements in June and made it clear that only 8th generation and beyond CPUs were officially supported.
Correct.
Microsoft now tells us that this install workaround is designed primarily for businesses to evaluate Windows 11 and that people can upgrade at their own risk, as the company can't guarantee driver compatibility and overall system reliability.
And that's for them to protect themselves.
Yeah. Microsoft won't be recommending or advertising this method of installing Windows 11 to consumers. So you have to know that you can do it. So if you're gonna reformat and install Windows 11, you can, but don't do an upgrade.
You can on an older computer, but you will still need the trusted platform module.
Okay. I mean, I didn't read anything that says that you don't. But
no, you absolutely do. Windows 11 cannot run without it. It's part of the file structure. It's how it's doesn't matter how old the CPU is or isn't. You still need that platform module.
But you don't need TPM to do BitLocker, right?
No, right now you do need TPM to do BitLocker.
You do. That's what I thought.
Yes. Yeah. But you don't have to use BitLocker on Windows 10. BitLocker is kind of built into Windows 11, for lack of a better.
So I only have one laptop that actually has TPM, and it's a Lenovo laptop.
It seems
like most computers, most recent computers have it. It's just turned off in the BIOS.
Yeah, I don't have most of our stuff is not recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, remember, BitLocker isn't available on the home version, only on the pro version.
Right.
Correct.
I've put it on several of my accountant customers. When they upgraded their laptops, it was available. And part of their business model with the company that they dealt with for their back-end processes required it. Plus the accounting laws required it. If you wanted to be, certified, basically, you had to have it. Protect customers' data.
Nick, it seems like I read an article. It may have been in what's his name, Computer News, or somewhere, that they did install Windows 11 on a computer without TPM, but it took a little bit of.
I'm sure there's
modifications that is not for the faint of heart. But
I mean, I'm sure it's possible. I just don't know why anybody would go through the trouble to do it. You
had to take an old HP calculator and solder it in to the back. It was difficult. Yeah, you have to. It's like you have to be good soldering skills.
I watched a good video on Windows 11 this week, because now that it can actually be installed on actual hardware instead of in these weird virtual machine environments, it looks great. I'm looking forward to getting it the second it becomes available. Lots of cool features.
You know what's an interesting thing from a timing perspective is that we're going into another supply chain black hole again.
Yeah.
With availability of machines. And so when this comes out, are we going to have availability for people who need to upgrade to TPM machines to get them? I noticed, we'll talk about it later when I do the specials, but I can see trends again in what's available and what's on sale. And certain things have just disappeared. Logitech keyboards, very hard to find, or wireless keyboards.
Well, a lot of those supplies are beginning to show up again, though.
Well, from what I'm hearing, the issue is not necessarily manufacturing; it's shipping. That their people are bidding now on containers, shipping containers that come over, because there's such a demand to get rid of the backlog that's been manufactured that didn't get shipped. That people are bidding up to get a container. So you got all this product sitting there that can't get anywhere.
They're talking about another year and a half of this. So
yeah. Lumber's better because that's a local thing.
That's gone way down in price.
Yeah, it's dropped dramatically again. But certain building products are hard to find. Anything with electronics, like if you go to buy home automation stuff, So the cars, chipsets, you go to the Ford dealership and the lot has 1/3 of the normal cars that they have on the lot.
Yeah,
That's why they're looking to buy a used car. I keep getting this notification from the Nissan dealer. We want to buy your car. So what am I going to be able to replace it with?
It's the same problem in the real estate the real estate market. You've got these guys running around trying to buy up houses.
Yeah.
It's like, well, where would you move?
I read another article about pickups. I mean, in the F-150 forum, and the guy said that he was driving around looking at different dealerships, Ford, and he saw a pickup, an F-150 pickup for $91,000, and he said the MSRP is 61 or 64,000, and they started a conversation about it, and somebody said, well, the MSRP does not mean that this is what they're supposed to sell it for. This is their suggested, and Ford is not going to tell them not to sell it. If they think they can sell it for 91,000, good for them.
Absolutely.
And it's amazing. It's because dealerships that had 200-300 trucks have 10 and 15.
What does MSRP stand for, Amnon?
Yeah, manufacturer suggested. You're right. Yeah. But we always look at that and try to find something cheaper, and it's always cheaper than the suggested.
Well, if
Here,
you've
it's
been
the other way
trying
around.
to buy computer components for the last year and a half, you know that MSRP has pretty much been thrown out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, cost of GPUs and CPUs are significant. Not even on the secondhand market, on the first-hand market, buying stuff directly from Best Buy and whatnot, it is way above MSRP.
Yeah. And people pay it. What do they call it? People are spending stupid money.
Oh, well, it's not. I mean, that's a part of it, but also people are. And if you're in a, for example, if you're a, an engineering firm or something like that, and you need a nice video card for CAD drawings or something like that,
Well,
and you need to spend $400 more than MSRP, what are you going to do?
You have to. Yeah, there's
Exactly.
you don't have a choice. I know. I understand what you're saying. Here's another story with Microsoft. Microsoft has warned thousands of its cloud computing customers, including some of the world's largest companies, that intruders could have the ability to read, change, or even delete their main databases, according to a copy of the email and a cybersecurity researcher.
Wow.
The vulnerability is in Microsoft Azure's flagship Cosmos database. A research team at security company Wiz discovered it was able to access keys that control access to databases held by thousands of companies. Wiz Chief Technology Officer Ami Lutwak is a former Chief Technology Officer at Microsoft's Cloud Security Group. And because Microsoft cannot change those keys by itself, it emailed the customers Thursday telling them to create a new one. Microsoft agreed to pay Wiz $40,000 for finding the flaw and reporting it, according to an email it sent to Wiz. Microsoft's email to customers said it has fixed the vulnerability and that there was no evidence the flaw has been exploited. We have no indication that external entity outside the researcher, Wiz, had access to the primary read-write key, according to a copy of email seen by Reuters. This is like getting a root password for a server and being able to change everything for any customers that are on that.
Well, I hope this is the most important story in the business world this week. Because this is incredible.
It is incredible. And who knows how long it's been there.
I need people to invest. I have a company I want to create. It's called Mattress because we'll keep all our data under the mattress. It's safer.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This is crazy. I mean, this is the thing that's like supposed to be their flagship product,
Right.
cloud computing.
Yep. Yep.
And all the genius IT managers who sold it to their company. Oh, we'll go with Microsoft because they'll do everything for us. It'll be great. We won't have to worry about security anymore. And they have all the things in place that we need that we've been struggling with to do for us. So we can outsource this and save all this money. Ah. Oh, well.
Hard drive. According to a report from Chinese tech site Review, the WD SN550 Blue drive, which is currently one of the best reviewed budget SSDs on the market, has undergone a NAND lobotomy.
You took the words out of my mouth. I have the story sitting here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You want to talk
go
about
ahead.
it?
No, go ahead. It's all right. Yeah. I'll
While the
when
new
you're done.
While the new SSD variant performs on par with the old drive that WD actually sampled for review, once you exhaust the SLC NAND cache, performance craters from 610 megabits second to 390, cuts in half. The new drive offers just 64% of the performance of the old drive. And this is ridiculous. And they did not tell anybody. They did not announce it.
That's the main part of it.
Yeah.
I'll read the first paragraph of this story, of this article. It says, in the past 11 days, this is coming from extremetech.com.
Yeah.
On the last 11 days, both Crucial and Western Digital have been caught swapping TLC NAND in certain products with inferior QLC NAND without updating the product SKUs or informing reviewers that this change was happening, shipping one product to reviewers and a different product to consumers. Now, they said they just found out Samsung's doing the same thing.
Yeah.
They had recommended Samsung over Western Digital and Crucial to go with Samsung and Intel, and now Samsung has been found
It's
to do
doing the same thing. Yep.
Steep performance decline in certain tests.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well. And if you're using Firefox, Mozilla developers are putting the finishing touches on a new feature that will block insecure file downloads in Firefox, called Mixed Content Downloaded Blocking. The feature works by blocking files downloads initiated from an encrypted HTTPS page, but which actually take place via an unencrypted HTTP channel. The idea behind this feature is to prevent Firefox users from getting misled by the URL bar and think they're downloading a file securely via HTTPS when, in reality, the file could be tampered with by third parties while in transit. I think other browsers already doing that, right? I think.
No, I think all of the browsers are showing a warning today.
Oh.
They're talking about blocking.
Blocking it completely, yep.
So you're still going to be able to visit the web page, but anything that is insecure will be blocked, as compared to you will be presented with an option. Do you want to visit a website? Yes or no?
Yep.
Yeah, fine. I would say don't go to that website.
What's interesting is that you can do a search, like say I went to look for something on Verizon, and I clicked on what is a Verizon landing page, got the warning. Then I typed in, instead of Verizon .com, I put in VerizonWireless.com, and that was okay.
Yeah, so
So-
that's a different warning you got.
Well, this was telling me that it was not HTTPS.
Well, I think it was telling you that the HTTPS site, the certificate is invalid.
Could be. I don't remember. I just didn't bother. I
Yeah,
just did
so-
another search and found one that was okay.
That's because Verizon they missed a step. So each certificate for a website, right, contains its identity, and one part of the identity is the URL. When you issue a certificate, you can issue the certificate to multiple URLs, or use an asterisk to show wildcard URLs.
Inclusive,
right?
yeah.
And they probably did it only for Verizon Wireless and not for Verizon.com on that site specifically. And the other thing is, if you go to Verizon.com, it should just redirect to Verizon Wireless, and then it uses the certificate properly. But it probably didn't do that. So yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing about SSL, this has bugged me since day one. It is technology wise, right? It's fantastic, because the idea is that even though the server doesn't really know who I am, we can still exchange private keys and keep the communication safe between the two of us. And it's ingenious. So the process it goes. The problem is that it is tangled in this. On top of the encryption, there is this whole paradigm of identification that people are never educated about. Not even techs. Most people do not understand that just by installing an OS today, right, we automatically create trust with a whole slew of these root certificate authorities, and nobody really explains what these root certificate authorities are and why they are trusted, right? If today we go to Google App Store or Apple App Store, right, and we download an application, we're bombarded with, hey, this application wants access to your phone on this level, on this level, on this level, on this level. And we're all basing that trust on Apple because we bought it from Apple, or on Google because we bought a Google product, right? And so we say, okay, this application was put into to the App Store, and we're trusting it because Apple or Google trusted it. When we go to a website, a store, right? We saw some fun ad in some social media. We clicked on it. It got us to a store. Hey, the store even has a green lock on it. It uses SSL. What do we know about the store's identity? And this is
Nothing.
where people break down. This is where people just miss completely.
Well, that's because in the early days, it was the indicator, and
but even in the early days, nobody explained why it was the indicator, right? And so we are now with a generation, and I'm not even talking about young people who are new to who live with this technology. I'm talking about us old guys, right? Who've been around the block. We've seen everything. Most people don't understand what that lock means, right?
Yeah.
There's a false sense of security by just trusting that lock. And so that's why the article from about Mozilla's change is important. But then again, it is a step in a certain direction, not a very helpful one. The whole thing about encryption and identity, it needs to be separate. And the whole identity process needs to be in your face, right? What is the number one thing that you try to grill into a citizen about identifying authority. If somebody dressed as a policeman is knocking on your door, right?
Yeah.
The first thing that should happen is some form of identification on your end, and on the other end, you need to actually see that he is actually a police officer, right? You shouldn't trust him just because he's dressed nice or intimidating, right? So this is exactly the same thing. If you go to if you do accept the salesman at your front door, right? You want to see credentials. You want to see he belongs to something that you know exists.
Yeah, but
that doesn't happen with the stores.
But you know why this is now happening and why they always say, yeah, he will identify himself and all that. It's because a lot of people said that they were this or that, and they weren't. So the companies decided, okay, yeah, then we're going to identify ourselves. It takes losses and negative information to go out there about certain things before they do something, before the powers that be do something. If you live near a crossroads that has a lot of accidents, they wait until somebody dies in an accident and then they put a light there. I mean, it's ridiculous, but I guess they go, we can say better late than never, but still, you can, in this day and age, you're right. We have enough information to do it the right way. And we can. It's just that it seems like they choose not to. Just like they choose to allow spam through. Yeah. Anyway. Spence?
Yes.
Are you ready for special?
Of course.
You are.
Well, naturally. Well, yes.
Ta-da.
Yeah. So, nice to be back. I wish I could say that the supply chain is getting better. It still has bumps and warts, but there are some things out there. I went back this week to good old Staples, Office Depot, Best Buy. Best Buy continues to. Oh, actually, Staples struggled a little bit today with their ad, going off into the weeds a little bit, and Best Buy seems to change it week to week. Makes it a little bit different. Makes it a little hard to capture this stuff, although it's not impossible, just more clicks. But we will drill down into some good stuff. All right, so I start out with just read the incoming message here.
Yeah.
Yes. That's where we're at.
Yep.
So. Yeah. It'd be better. I wish Rod Serling was still around. He could lead us through this whole thing.
Anyway.
Okay. So Computers 2K Now specials for August 29, 2021. August 29 already.
Yeah.
And I still don't have my lawn in any kind of shape to plant grass. I'm just out there yesterday cutting. My chainsaw is kaput, is gone. I tried to fix it. I tried to get parts for it. I couldn't. Took it to a shop. The guy says impossible. There's no parts.
You
mean 35 years old.
You're cutting the grass with a chainsaw?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's it. Yeah. But my wonderful Craftsman chainsaw that I had for 35 years, it worked until the last time I used it about 3 or 4 years ago. It was okay.
Mm-hmm.
Still ran. But just could not. The carburetor was so gooked up. I tried to clean it. I tried to get gaskets and a kit for it. Could only get some parts. It just couldn't get the gasket that I needed. And just that my son, Aaron, has one. So I borrowed his. He's got a 22-inch. But I was out there yesterday cutting away more and more of the roots left over from the tree that I couldn't really have completely removed because it sits right on top of my gas line. But
yeah,
I digress. All right. So Staples, starting with laptops, we've got a Lenovo IdeaPad 5, 15.6-inch notebook, Intel i5, 8 gig of memory, 512 SSD for $579, normally $699, so it's $120 off. Got an Asus VivoBook 15. This is a Ultrabook i3, 4 gig of memory, 128 SSD for $389, normally $449. Got an HP Pavilion Desktop, Intel i5, 128 gig of RAM. 12 gig, 128 gig. Wouldn't that be great? 12 gig of RAM. I read it wrong. 256 SSD for $569, normally $669, so 100 off. And then they've got a Lenovo Idea Center Intel i7, 12 gig, 256 SSD for $749, normally $829. So Lenovo seems to not be as constrained. Comes and goes in waves, what they can get through.
I think the prices are up a bit.
They are. Everything is up a bit. Everything just took a 10% hit on everything. It's just
I think sometimes
inflation.
It's more than 10%. That's the problem.
But I mean, if inflation in general, I think the latest numbers I said was 10 to 12% overall inflation. If you take into account energy, food, and all that stuff. So across the board. But there are still some good deals out there. They still have Amazon. This is not a sale, but Amazon Fire tablets, $49. And they work good. If you you'll probably want to pay extra to get rid of the ads. Not that the ads are that annoying on the Fire.
Let's talk about that after the specials. I have something about that.
Okay. And then Amazon Kindle Paperwhite. I have one of these. I have an older version of it, but I'm still using it. I love it. I still have my original Kindle keyboard that has the 3G in it, which I still works. I mean, it's
but that's
great.
not Paperwhite.
Not Paperwhite.
That doesn't have the backlight.
Does not have a backlight.
Yeah.
So it's hard to read at night. So I usually take that with me on vacation when I'm sitting on a cruise ship out in the open. The nice part about it is I can put stuff on there that's borrowed from a library, and as long as I don't turn on the radio again, it stays there forever. It doesn't actually expire. It doesn't get scrubbed. If I turn it on, it gets scrubbed off. Mm-hmm. But this way I can read the stuff because a lot of these places would give you 2 to 3 weeks to read a book. And it's like, I don't get it. I don't read that much unless I'm on vacation. So, but a Kindle, 8 gig Kindle entry level Paperwhite is $129. Hard keyboards. I could not find any Logitech keyboards. No ads today for some reason. But they've got Microsoft stuff showing up again. So Microsoft Bluetooth desktop keyboard and mouse for $37.99, which is normally $57, so it's $20 off. Also monitors, not a lot. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I got a question. So if you get a Microsoft Bluetooth keyboard, right, does it hook up to the system, let's say, to manage the BIOS?
Don't know.
Right? You need to do some sort of pairing.
Yes.
And will that pairing survive after the boot? That's an interesting thing, right? It's with a dongle, it's the dongles are tied in, it works. But with the Bluetooth, I'm always hesitant when it comes to the hardware part.
I can't say for PC, but like every time I get in my car, my phone connects to the radio. So
it connects to the radio like 10 seconds after you started the car. The software needs to load.
Yeah, it depends on that. Yeah, right? One car, Pam's car is a lot faster than my.
Yeah, but
some of the old radios
it needs to.
There's a hatch. You're right. So
how do you needs to load?
Yeah, how does it load? That's a good question.
Yeah.
So
that's always bothers me with. I mean, I love the idea that I don't need another dongle. Right? Don't get me wrong. That's fantastic. But
now maybe this is designed as an adjunct to a laptop. In which case, you log in using the laptop keyboard, and then you switch to this.
Still have a hardware fallback, yeah.
So, well, either that or you have to keep the good old USB connected keyboard around just so you can get going, which that'd be sad. So, but that's good. Maybe I'll look at that. That'd be interesting to find out.
Well, if anybody has any experience with that in the audience,
let us know.
Yeah,
because I have a Bluetooth keyboard for my iPad, which, again, is not an issue because I can log in from the touchscreen. Okay, Acer K2 series 27-inch LCD monitor for $149, normally $159. We've got a Seagate Backup Plus 4 terabyte external hard drive with it's USB 3 with 2 USB ports on the front. So if you use this drive and you plug it into a laptop to share, or a computer to share, or a router to share, you should be able to actually share 3 devices, which is nice because you've got the front USB ports, which are also for sharing. So $99, which is normally $114. Forget about this one because was Seagate on the list of the manufacturers? No. All right, so Seagate Barracuda, 1 terabyte internal PCI Express SSD for $112. Not a big sale, but there's a better one later, but unfortunately it's a Samsung. TP-Link AX3000 Wi-Fi dual band wireless AX router for $129. Now the hazard with that is it's not tri-band, but if you don't have a tri-band adapter, don't worry about it. This is going to do a good job in most circumstances dealing with interference and so on. There's a lot about the AX standard that you can take advantage of. But if you're looking just to boost a signal to one area of your house, you don't want to go through a lot of complication. Here's a TP-Link AC 1750. Now, 1750 megabits per second is a theoretical maximum if you had perfect circumstances. But if you do want to boost something, say you want to get better coverage outside, or you've got a router on one end of your house, you just want to support one other PC at the other end of the house, for $59, 20 off, it's a good solution. I've put in range extenders that are literally $29 Amazon unknown brands that work. So it all depends. Sometimes you can get, if you're, for example, have the same brand router and the same brand extender, you may actually be able to get the availability of seamless handoff without having to change the SSID, that it will actually give an extension. The cheaper ones actually use the same SSID with a -EXT in the SSID. Yeah. So you can't, it's not automatic change unless the signal strength drops so low that it drops from the first one and goes to the second one. If that's the case, then you have other issues. So with coverage. All right. So that's it at Staples, Office Depot, Office Max, Asus VivoBook, thin light laptop, which is hold on a second. I can't, it's a
15.6.
Yeah. It's a Core i3 449, which is 100 off. Got a Lenovo IdeaPad 15.6 inch Core i5 for 529, which is 170 off. And another Lenovo IdeaPad AMD Ryzen 7. This is a great price for a Ryzen 7. A 449 is 150 off.
So notice one thing. They don't put the generation there.
No, they don't.
So we don't know if it's a good Ryzen 7 or not, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's a Zen 3, you're right. It's a fantastic price.
Yeah.
But if it's an older generation, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it might have some of the hardware
Office
issues.
Depot. Well, continue.
Yeah.
I'll search.
Well, Office Depot and Best Buy as well. A lot of refurb stuff. Amazing. You go in and look, and you go to Best Buy, say, show me desktops. And they'll show you a couple of new desktops and everything else, pages and pages of refurb stuff. So you got to really be careful. AMD Pavilion Desktop PC Ryzen 7. Again, this says that the little green thing at the top means it's a new product. So we'll see. It says new. 16 gig of memory, 256 solid state drive, $659, which is only $65 off the regular price, which leads me to believe it's probably a newer machine. Printers, hard to find. No Brother printers that I could find at all 3 locations. Not even suggested at regular price. Maybe if I drilled down, I could find them, but there was nothing on sale. It hasn't been for a long time. Canon image class, wireless monochrome black and white laser, all in one, 129, which is 50 off. Canon image class wireless monochrome. This is not a full duplex machine. Or is it? Let me see here. Yeah, it's got a D in it. So this is there was one a little bit cheaper that was not duplex, but I figured most people are going to want automatic duplex. 139, save $30. Acer 23.8 inch AMD FreeSync monitor for $129, save 20. Keyboards, no Logitech keyboards. But this was an interesting one here. The VisionTech wireless candy board. I've heard of this. I've never seen one to see how small it is. It's definitely designed for a multimedia environment.
Oh, is that what that square on the right side is?
That's a glide pad. It's a glide pad. No, it's a little door with where you could put jelly beans in there.
Yeah.
It's great. Candy
Yep.
board. So
That's
$30. Yeah, it's good. $28 off is a good price.
So they're not Zen 3, those Ryzen 7.
They're not. Okay.
No, Zen 3 starts at 5,800, and those are 4,700.
Okay.
So yeah, that's why the
that's why they're
price
cheap.
is so low. Yeah, it's still a good deal, but it's not an excellent deal, right?
Yeah, if you're depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So, all right, Western Digital Elements SE 1 terabyte portable external drive. This is a basic drive. It's a basic price. If you don't have USB local backup, spend the $47. It's $27 off the regular price. Just have something going. You know, even if you have cloud backup, it's not a bad thing to have local backup too. So, SanDisk Ultra Lux USB 3 flash drive 256. This continues to be really inexpensive. It's surprising. I mean, it's a limited application to have that you need that much storage. But if you're migrating and you have a safe situation where you're going from one machine to another, and you don't want to do it across the network, or you don't want to set up a share or whatever, and you want to just copy bulk files, video, and stuff over, $29, $40 off the regular price. Logitech C920S. Now, I don't know what makes the S different, but it seems to be cheaper than the Pro. But so this is a very well-made webcam. Now, this is the only thing I could find from Logitech that was actually on sale. So it's $59, $10 off. Any of the 900 series Logitech webcams are good.
You know what the S stands for?
No, simple.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it works.
Sometimes it works. Okay. You have to spin the wheel to find out if it's going to work. But if it starts to work when you start your PC, does it stay working until the next time? Is it kind of that random? Is it a random generator and it'll say, I'm sorry, but your device has stopped working? And here we go. Disregard the SanDisk because apparently we're being scammed here. SSD Plus, 1 terabyte. Why is it? And maybe that's why the price is so low. $89 for 1 terabyte SSD. It could be it's got the.
Yeah, well, come on. A 1 terabyte used to go for around $100. So the MSRP, the $200 is
ridiculous.
Is ridiculous, but 89, it's still a good deal. But yeah, I don't know if there's a way to confirm today whether you're going to get bad chips or not. So
yeah, there isn't.
I did see an article saying that Western Digital will replace the suspect ones. You just call them. If you bought one of the other ones, they'll replace it with the right one. So, sorry, we didn't mean it. There's a great article in Extreme Tech about lying and how they never thought they'd have to go through such an extensive research into lying. They go back to some IBM situation where there was a huge scandal over disk space back in the days of spinning disks, and it was a huge scandal for IBM. Okay, that's it for Office Depot, Office Max. Getting to Best Buy. Yeah, Best Buy has some good deals, and you just have to know what you're looking at and where to look. But Lenovo Chromebook Duet, tablet with keyboard, essentially, $249, save $50. I've got a Samsung Galaxy Book Go. Now, this is a Windows machine. So if you're looking for an entry-level Windows machine that's not Windows S, it's the full Windows Home, $299, save $50. Not bad. It's got Snapdragon. I don't know what the performance is on Windows with the Qualcomm Snapdragon, but it is a fairly good price for an entry-level machine, depending on what you're going to do with it. HP 2-in-1 touchscreen Chromebook, Core i3, 8 gig of memory, 128 SSD, or $499. Again, Chromebooks are expensive, but I think if to take full advantage of Chromebook today, you're going to need a nice machine. So I wonder if this could be repurposed with Windows or if it's locked down somehow. But it is $200 off. And if you're, I've had 3 people in the last 2 weeks tell me that they were switching to Mac. Very interesting. I've got one customer who's an accountant. I have another customer, just a friend, not a customer, a friend who told me I'm done. I'm going to go Mac. I'm not going to buy another PC. And a family member also said, you know, they just standardized on Mac, which I was on. He's an IT guy, and haven't been there for. It was my brother-in-law. We went up to Long Island. We went to visit them, and I go into his
There are
lab,
bad.
so to
There are
speak.
bad apples everywhere.
There are,
So
but
don't
he had switched to Mac. So no, he still has PCs, obviously,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
he's
That's fine.
He's just, so if you want to switch to Mac and you're willing, it's $1,000 here, but you can get a really nice 21.5-inch Mac iMac 4K display, Core i5, 8 gig of memory, 256 SSD for $999, which is it's $500 off. That's amazing in the Apple world. And don't know what it is, whether it's a Best Buy deal or Apple has lowered the price. Apple tightly controls how their retail is sold. So usually sales are with their blessing.
They're trying to get rid of their computers with the Intel chip.
Could be.
Keep going.
All right. Student deals. There was some interesting things under student deals. HP desktop Ryzen 3, don't know the gen, 8 gig of memory, 256 SSD for $479. Desktops, again, continue to be expensive. Used to be they were cheaper than laptops, and now they've been on par or more expensive, and it could be supply chain. They've got an HP desktop wireless all-in-one inkjet printer. They did have some that were not all-in-ones or didn't have sheet feeders like this, and I thought it was worth the extra $20 to get a sheet feeder just for whatever you want to use it for. I wouldn't buy a printer without one today, really, unless it was a specialty thing. For $109, I don't know that this is necessarily a good deal. They say price match guarantee. These are not really sales. And finally, a MacBook Air 13.3-inch Apple M1 chip. So this has got the new Apple chip in it. 8 gig of memory, 256 and $999. Latest models. So, and that's at Best Buy. And that's it for today, for August 29th, 2021.
Well, thank you.
Yes, sir. I was intrigued. I was poking around on the what is it? I'm sorry, Extreme Tech site. So I go there just to look at tech stories. And something I started going there originally because they had good. They would have a good page of deals, like deals for that day to buy stuff. So I go there to look, and now I kind of go for them and I look at just stories. They have good stories on security, on phones.
They're a good resource.
Yeah, it's a good resource, and they do write some of their own stuff. They also will refer you to other sites, whatever.
Yeah.
But I got intrigued because I looked at a story about Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I came across the instruction book for Flight Simulator that was not. I've had Flight Simulator since the beginning, the very first version, but I haven't bought a new version of it probably in 10 years or more. And I looked at it and I said, oh, they're going to have virtual reality soon, but I guess you're going to have to use Xbox. I don't think you'll get it in the PC version. Maybe. I don't know. But the point is, I'm not going to buy an Xbox to use it. That they do have the PC version. They have 3 versions of it, which I thought was interesting. Standard edition. Let me go back here. I thought it was funny the way they mentioned the. And I got to get to the right page. Sorry. On Microsoft Store. So there's 3 versions of it. There's Microsoft Flight Simulator Standard, Microsoft Flight Simulator Deluxe, Microsoft Flight Simulator Premium Deluxe.
Mm.
What does that mean? I don't know. The difference in prices from what is it dear? 59 to 79, 72 to 95. So whatever the differences are, could be performance, it could be whatever. But it is three versions available on PC. And if I was going to get back into doing any kind of games on PC, it would probably be this, because I used to love I'd have it running in the background. I'd set up a flight and I'd do it real time. And when I was flying and when I was taking my training, I would use this to practice for IFR, for instrument. And I was halfway through my instrument training when 9/11 happened, and that's when I stopped basically flying because my airport got shut down because it was too close to a nuclear power plant. And since then, it just got so expensive. But I was using it, and then when I went through my initial training, the guy says, "Oh, instrument flying pretty well." And I said, "Yeah, I just practiced on Flight Simulator." It really helped. Just
All right, Gal,
visualizing.
you were going to talk about something after the.
Yeah. So Spence showed an Amazon Fire 7 tablet.
Yeah.
So there's always this thing with Amazon about the Amazon ecosystem is not exactly an Android, right? It's
It's locked.
adjacent
Yeah.
to an Android, but it really has some locks around it. Apparently, those locks are not too hard to bypass. Like, really easy. All you need is a USB cable and a PC. It's not dangerous in any way. There's no breaking risk. You do not need to root. You do not need to jailbreak. None of that. All you need to do is enable developer options, right? And there's a nifty little software tool that basically provides you a slew of tools to make the tablet your own. So I got this is a Fire. This is the 10-inch one, their latest generation. The reason I got the latest generation was the latest generation of the 10-inch at least has 3 gigabytes of RAM, which is usually the bottleneck that causes these Android tablets to be slow. 2 gigabytes of RAM or less, then that's where tablets, phones of Android, they feel sluggish. When you get 3 gigabytes of RAM, usually that solves most of the issue, even if you have hundreds and hundreds of apps. That was my experience anyway with Android. Now, I got this, and I replaced an older generation. And in the older generation, I found a way of sideloading, a launcher and something, but always getting to the launcher was always a pain. Take a look at this. I switch it on.
Yeah, we probably won't be able to see.
It's all right. Click on the right one. I switch it on, and it goes to my launcher. Right? No lock screen, no nothing.
You don't want to look at the ads for those new books from.
You don't need to do anything. You don't need to work even with the Amazon launcher. You can put any launcher that you want.
That's good.
I have App Store on it. I can install any Google software, even those that need the Google ecosystem. You can install everything that you need through it. So it's called simply the Amazon Fire Toolkit, right? It's like Fire Toolbox. It's you can find it on XDA developers. And this turns the Amazon tablet to probably the cheapest tablet out there that is decent, right? It has good support. The hardware is okay. The price is ridiculous. compared to others. I mean, even Samsung, which they make tablets that are substantially cheaper than iPads, right? They're still not as cheap as an Amazon one. And with the 3 GB RAM, this is a fantastic tablet. I'm actually using it daily now. I'm reading on it. I have a digital comics collection that I use it to read. So it's a great tool, and together tied with the Fire Toolbox, it's suddenly a very convenient one. So definitely
Nice.
recommend. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, their hardware has always been very good for the price.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's because they made their money off of their subscription model, and lockdown, you had to pay extra to to eliminate the
yeah, but even if you
advertisements.
pay the extra, you don't get real.
You don't. You
freedom,
still
right?
aren't. You're not unlocked.
Yeah,
Right?
you still
true.
need to use their launcher and stuff, and it's very limited. Their launcher, there's very little that you can control about it, and so this little tool, this is one fantastic deal. I have a friend. He I don't remember how many years ago on a Black Friday, he bought a bunch of 7-inch tablets and set them up at home. They have an activity like a bonus room on the 3rd floor on the attic, right? And so, he wanted a way. He wanted to put in a simple enough intercom system in the house, so he could call the kids, right, from downstairs and not need to go up all the way and all that. And those tablets, they were like $35, right? He bought 4 of them, put them around the house, installed the Zello, that walkie-talkie like application, and it works. It works fantastic. So if you have that, and you have the ability of controlling, right, on the Fire tablet, the software completely, hell, it makes it a fantastic deal.
Yeah, I'm looking at the one that you got, the 3 gig RAM, 32 gig ROM. It says, did you get the one with the 5G in it?
No.
It was the one with the 5G is only $119. Not that I would use the 5G. I wouldn't waste.
Yeah, I have a tablet with a SIM in it, and I can say it never leaves the house, so I don't really.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
That's a great deal.
Maybe you with your travels, but
yeah,
still.
Yeah, but I usually use my phone as a hotspot.
Yeah,
I'd
rather be diligent about downloading stuff in advance to the tablet than using data, because then I'll be lazy. I'll rely on data and always be disappointed. Right? Data isn't. If you want media now, immediately, right?
Media now.
Then yeah.
Yeah, so with them retiring the WhisperNet now, and all the old AT&T stuff, I lost that free access I had on my old original Kindle.
Yeah.
And that access allowed me, they had an experimental browser, and it was the old really slow gray screen. It's not in any way animated, but you could load the experimental browser using the WhisperNet, and I could get to email. It was slow, but I could actually, and I had to use the hat switch to navigate. But you could actually go, and I could be on a Caribbean cruise sitting in a port somewhere where I had no service, and actually, send an email to the kids, hey, we made it alive, and not having to buy. Back when Wi-Fi on the ship was ridiculously expensive.
Yeah.
And I didn't like going to the hotspots in the ports because of security. But yeah, it's not such a big deal anymore. But it still continues to work. My original Kindle.
All right, let's switch again here. We're talking about Samsung screwing up. Samsung smartphone owners are facing a looming deadline to rescue their photos from Samsung Cloud or risk losing backed up images. Samsung is removing the option to back up your photo gallery to Samsung Cloud, presumably in a bid to cut storage costs. Can you imagine? To cut storage costs? Samsung Cloud will still continue to back up data such as contacts, calendar entries, and notes, but photos and videos are no longer part of the package. So you need to go and get them. If you are backing up to Samsung Cloud, your photos and videos, you need to find another place to back them up. And another piece of information that involves Samsung, if you plan on unlocking the bootloader to root your Galaxy Z Flip 3, or Galaxy Z Fold 3, Samsung's two newest foldables announced earlier this month, you should know that the Korean OEM will disable the cameras.
Ooh.
Technically, this has only been confirmed for the Galaxy Z Fold 3, but the Galaxy Z Flip 3 likely has similar restrictions. So I thought everything came unlocked these days, but apparently not. And there was another thing about, there it is. Samsung South Africa has announced that it has activated a TV block function on all Samsung TV sets stolen during the looting, violence, and unrest in parts of KwaZulu-Natal during July that saw TV sets stolen from Samsung warehouses. Samsung has activated TV block on all Samsung television sets looted from its Cato Ridge distribution center since 11 July. Samsung's television block technology is already preloaded on all Samsung TV products, and the company says that all sets taken unlawfully and stolen from Samsung warehouses are being blocked, rendering them useless. TV Block is a remote security solution that detects if Samsung TV units have been unduly activated and ensures that the television sets can only be used by the rightful owners with a valid proof of purchase. Samsung South Africa says that the aim of the technology is to mitigate against the creation of secondary markets linked to the sale of illegal goods, both in South Africa and beyond its borders. This is kind of like the Apple stuff, right? That you can kill it remotely, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Here, a stolen
Disable
TV, and you buy it, but you can't do anything with it. Interesting. That's actually a good thing. Until somebody figures out how to disable TVs. Yep. Remember, there was a lot of talk about Apple wanting to scan photos on iCloud for child pornography? And it went back and forth and fighting back and forth. Well, according to 9to5Mac, Apple has confirmed that it's already been scanning iCloud mail for child sexual abuse material and has been doing so since 2019. It has not, however, been scanning iCloud photos or iCloud backups, which sent the internet into frenzy when it announced its intent to begin doing so. So they were doing the mail, but not the photos and the videos.
Well, you need to remember.
Yeah.
email, right?
Yeah.
Is practically postcards.
Yeah.
It's not closed, it's not encrypted, it's not
True.
anything. It just passes plain text, plain view, in plain view through multiple servers you have zero control of.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even if Apple isn't doing it, the federal government can put in a mail server somewhere that that a lot of email is routed through it, and it can be scanned for an hour.
True.
It's not a big deal. I don't. I mean, even if they said, "Hey, we're scanning it for keywords about shopping," right? I mean, you can go into an uproar, but it doesn't matter. It's like the technology isn't there to protect you anyway. So it's just intention.
Yeah.
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 The only reason they are saying that, the way I'm reading it, it's a publicity stunt, is, hey, pedophiles shouldn't use iPhones, right? That's basically the message they're trying to. It's just to sell more iPhones, right, to the non-pedophilia, and that's easy, right? Because pedophiles are probably the only things there is, the only topic there is a consensus on, like globally. There's nobody really advocating
nobody
for pedophiles.
says, "Oh yeah, it's okay."
You'd be surprised. There have been some articles recently, and people saying, "Well, it's really just not that unusual." And I mean, it's the very bleeding edge of this stuff is emerging.
There is I don't know how it turns out. I'm the devil's advocate here, but pedophilia, right? The actions there are horrible, and within people who are identified as pedophiles, right? There are those who are struggling with it and trying to fight it and have never acted on it, right? And then there are those who, the criminals who actually did act on it, right? But again, this is something nobody is advocating, right? Nobody will advocate for the pedophiles. There'll be some discussion about it, there'll be some explanation about it, but nobody says, even if it's inherent and has to do with with genetics or whatever, it's still something that will never be approved, right? Will never be accepted. So
and other failed civilizations, it was not. It was accepted. And
in the past it was.
Yeah.
This is one thing we're probably growing out of our natural tendencies, right? It might exist on a biological level, but it's still something that I think there's a human consensus of not falling into accepting that biological fact, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. All right, we were talking about computers and
computers. What's that?
According to analysts at Canalys, the PC market in the United States is booming. Sales in the second quarter of 2021 have grown 17%, with 36.8 million units shipped. Notebooks and desktops led the way with a growth in shipment of 27% and 23%, respectively, compared to last year.
Yeah, you remember the time where they said this was dropping because of cell phone was rising, right?
Yeah.
You stick people at home, cell phone isn't enough.
It's not absolutely not.
Cell phone is great for commuting, not for anything else.
HP was the leading company in the US, delivering more than 8 million devices to customers and dominating the Chromebook sector with a 42% market share. Apple suffered a 3% decline in devices shipped, but still held on to a second-place slot behind HP. Analysts noted that Apple was the only major PC manufacturer to see negative growth in the second quarter. due in no small part to waning consumer interest in iPads. According to the report, the company did see a 24% interest in notebook shipments thanks to recent success with the M1 chip. So, it's still there and it's growing. Now it's growing compared to last year. That's no big deal. Because last year was actually a lot of sales.
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah,
because
yeah.
of the run up to get
Yeah.
to work from home.
A
But
Los
if-
Angeles County man broke into thousands of Apple iCloud accounts and collected more than 620,000 private photos and videos in a plot to steal and share images of nude young women, federal authorities say. Hao Cao Chi, 40, of La Puente, has agreed to plead guilty to 4 felonies, including conspiracy to gain unauthorized access to a computer. Chi, who goes by David, admitted that he impersonated Apple customer support staff in emails that tricked unsuspecting victims into providing him with their Apple IDs and passwords. He gained unauthorized access to photos and videos of at least 306 victims across the nation, most of them young women. He acknowledged in his plea agreement with federal prosecutor in Tampa, Florida.
So the good news is he didn't hack the iCloud accounts. He actually stole their credentials.
He hacked the people.
He hacked the people. Yeah, I went and looked at that right away because I said, wait a second, I have a lot of stuff on iCloud.
Yeah. So that's it's amazing that people still fall for this, and it's amazing to see this now happening on the Apple side. This has been something like this has been going on for years and years on the PC side. Yeah, I'm from Microsoft. So,
and you will not be able to continue with your computer until you pay the fine because you didn't have a correct license for this. So we can take your credit card right now.
And talking about breaches, here is another one. More than 1,000 web apps mistakenly exposed 38 million records on the open internet, including data from a number of COVID-19 contact tracing platforms, vaccination signups, job application portals, and employee databases. The data included a range of sensitive information from people's phone numbers and home addresses to social security numbers and COVID-19 vaccination status. The incident affected major companies and organizations, including American Airlines, Ford, transportation and logistic company J.B. Hunt, the Maryland Department of Health, the New York City Municipal Transportation Authority, the New York City Public Schools. And while the data exposed have since been addressed, they show how one bad configuration setting in a popular platform can have far-reaching consequences. The exposed data was all stored in, I'll take one guess. Whose database?
Azure's?
In Microsoft Power Apps portal service. A development platform that makes it easy to create web or mobile apps for external use. If you need to spin up a vaccine appointment sign-up site quickly during, say, a pandemic, Power Apps portals can generate both the public-facing site and the data management backend. Beginning in May, researchers from the security firm UpGuard began investigating a large number of Power Apps portals that publicly exposed data that should have been private, including some Power Apps that Microsoft made for its own purposes. None of the data is known to have been compromised, but the finding is significant still, as it reveals an oversight in the design of Power Apps portals that have since been fixed. And it goes on talking about it. But it's just because whoever created their apps, I mean, when it started 1,000 web apps, it's because they were configured wrong by the person who was trying to create it because of one bad configuration on the server, and it said that nobody would think that it would happen. So, I mean, nobody knows whether or not it was compromised, the data, but they said that it wasn't. Of course, they said it wasn't. And there was something here that I was wondering, I couldn't understand it, and let's see what you guys think. Apple announced last week it has reached a proposed settlement in a lawsuit filed against it by developers in the United States. The agreement, which is still pending court approval, includes a few changes, the biggest one being that developers will be able to share information on how to pay for purchases outside of the iOS app or the App Store, which means they can tell customers about payments options that aren't subject to Apple commission. The settlements also include more pricing tiers and blah, blah, blah. Does that sound like it's because of what happened with Epic?
Yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
But notice they are. Who's the settlement with? That's what I'm not getting.
The class action suit was filed against Apple in 2019 by app developers Donald Cameron and Illinois Pure Sweat Basketball.
But didn't it become a class action suit?
It did.
Yeah, so that's why the settlement is for anybody in the class.
Who said
So-
the company engaged in anti-competitive practices by only allowing the downloading of iPhone apps through its app store.
So they didn't lose anything. This is the absurd thing about this
Yeah.
settlement. They are saying they haven't changed their commissions plans,
Right.
right? They're saying to the app developers, you can tell your customers they can go elsewhere to pay. So that's the only change, because up until now, the problem was they had a high commission, but also, right, they didn't allow other payment methods.
Right.
So if you were to pay that, and that's part of the Epic lawsuit, right?
Mhm.
Where Epic is a cross-platform game, so purchases can be done on directly to Epic, for example, using PayPal or something like that. So yeah,
It's
this
costing
is a
them.
real SOB move.
Well, they're going to pay $100 million. It says that the total payout will be $100 million. Roughly 67,000 developers
Yeah.
will be eligible. Payments could go as high as 30,000 for developers that made over 1 million in calendar year 2015 to 2021. So almost all members of the class should get between $250 and $2,000.
Yeah.
Which still, did I tell you I got my AMD check? Or the
No.
class action against AMD that was from years ago
No.
about the processor, because I bought my 8-core FX. Yeah, and I got it.
yeah,
It was
I
like
remember.
$1.29.
Wow.
And I cashed it, and now I have it on my wall. The check, $1.29. Lawyers got millions.
Of course. Of course. ISPs are quietly distributing net flow data that can, among other things, trace traffic through VPNs. There is something of an open secret in the cybersecurity world. Internet service providers quietly give away detailed information about which computer is communicating with another to private businesses, which then sells access to that data to a range of third parties, according to multiple sources in the threat intelligence industry. The information known as net flow data is a useful tool for digital investigators. They can use it to identify servers being used by hackers or to follow data as it is stolen. But the sale of this information still makes some people nervous because they are concerned about whose hands it may fall into. I'm concerned that net flow data being offered for commercial purposes is a path to a dark, freaking place. One source familiar with the data told Motherboard. Motherboard granted multiple source anonymity to speak more candidly about industry issues. So it's a good thing if it's limited to whoever is investigating, but to be able to sell it, and the fact that they're selling it, that can be a problem. Yeah. And it's interesting that they can follow information and data that, I mean, I'm not into this hacking thing, but that's interesting that they can follow data that way, even through VPN.
Um,
Go ahead.
I think in a way, the only troubling thing here is that they provide it to private companies.
Yeah.
And
Commercially.
Commercial. Yeah. What I'm trying to understand is, are they giving everything? And because this sounds like this is like the garbage collection company
that goes and
selling
gives. Yeah.
selling access to the dumpster.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, this would be the equivalent. So if you trash your shredded documents,
So
right?
and anybody
somebody
can come.
goes and sifts through the garbage. There are companies, of course, digitally it's a lot easier, right? You don't get you don't really get your hands dirty, but I mean, this is the equivalent. And yes, it makes an interesting discussion whether the laws should prevent that or not. I mean, we have like this strong feeling that the ISP should only make money by us paying them fees, and that's where we need to stop. That's the only way of us stopping being the product, right? We are the consumer and not the product. But yeah, this is an interesting one.
Yeah. And apparently it's been going on. Epic. Okay, I don't use Discord. You do, right?
Yeah.
And Nick does. Nick is not here.
I have a login, but I haven't used it in a while.
YouTube has issued a cease and desist order against the creator of Groovy, who has agreed to shut down the widely popular music bot on August 30th. Effectively a tool for adding background tunes to a chat room. Groovy worked by pulling audio directly from YouTube videos, joining voice calls, and playing music cued by users. Yeah. It was ridiculously popular, reported reportedly installed on over 16 million servers. But it seems Google wasn't so hot on the bot.
Well,
With a spokesperson.
yeah, I can see why. Groovy also charges money.
Oh.
Yeah.
With a spokesperson for the company told The Verge that Groovy violated YouTube terms of service, modifying the service and using it for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why, because they were charging.
Yeah. And probably
yeah.
they're stripping the ads and yeah. I mean, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think they're not the only one though. So there's a lot of plugins that do that, and it's not like only one plugin that does YouTube streams into the.
I mean, there are other ways to get music, right?
No, the whole idea. So Discord is voice chat, video chat, and text, right? And you have these voice channels, and they can act as a radio, for example. That you connect to one of those channels to listen to what it has, and it does not necessarily need to be another person on the other end. It can be something called a bot, right? Which is very easy to set up in Discord. They make it that intentionally, and that bot can be connected to some source of online streaming. And of course, one of the most popular ones is YouTube. So that's fine. That's but it needs to be smart and finessed. And this one it's like the blatant disregard to the rules was
to the law.
Yeah. Forget law. I'm talking about the rules. I'm talking about, even within piracy, there are
certain
steps that you take, right, to limit your exposure.
Yeah.
Right. And here it's like in your face. So they got slapped.
There's no honor among thieves?
Well, I don't know about thieves. I don't know about honor.
And here's the last article I have here that's also a thing. I mean, I don't know how many people are affected. A dangerous vulnerability in Realtek chipsets used in hundreds of thousands of smart devices from at least 65 vendors is currently under attack from a notorious DDoS botnet gang. The attack started last week, according to a report from IoT security firm SAM, and began just 3 days after fellow security firm IoT Inspector published details about the vulnerability on its blog. Tracked as CVE 2021, the vulnerability is part of 4 issues IoT Inspector researchers found in the software development kit, the SDK, that ships with multiple Realtek chipsets. These chips are manufactured by Realtek, but are shipped to other companies, which then use them as a basic system-on-chip board for their own devices, with the Realtek SDK serving as a configurator and starting point for their own firmware. So it's like other manufacturers that use the Realtek chips. That's kind of bad. And I'm glad they're not mentioning which or what or how, but it's good. There was also an article about how just plugging in a certain keyboard or mouse to a computer, to a Windows computer, can give you admin rights. If you want to find out, go read about it. But apparently, if you plugged in this particular keyboard or mouse, you could get admin rights to that computer, which is, I mean, it's a vulnerability. All right. Well, that's all I have.
That's it.
That's it.
And
Oh, come on.
Spence,
We paid for more content than this.
Yeah. Spence, I was going to ask you something, and it got nothing to do with computers.
Okay.
I know you use ethanol-free fuel in your motorcycle.
I do.
Do you use it in anything else?
I use it in my pressure washer and my
Okay.
lawnmower. And I mixed up some new gas for the chainsaw and I used it there too.
Yeah, I don't know where I saw something about it, and I started reading and watching videos and all, and it's amazing what regular gas with ethanol does to these.
Older devices. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
I-
never
I-
mind older devices, even new devices.
Yeah.
That, I mean, the corrosion that happens.
That's because cars have to be built with the correct seals and also just the metals that are used in the fuel system
Exactly,
have
that's
to be,
the problem. The metals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah,
because it introduces water.
Yeah.
Into the system, and not a small amount, 10% ethanol.
Mhm.
There's a great it's on YouTube, but a guy
Yeah.
actually does the separation.
Yeah.
Where he shows they can actually determine if is it really 10% ethanol, and then they can show by percentages how much water is in the ethanol.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've been using it in my Honda motorcycle. Every spring, I had to take those carburetors apart and clean them. And I tried additives; it did nothing. Didn't help. I have what do you call it? A jet tool to
Mhm.
clean the jets.
Mhm.
I couldn't find one small enough to go into this tiny jet in the Honda car. I had to use a strand of wire to get in there and clean it out. And every year I get this black stuff out of it. How is this possible?
Yep.
Yep. So now I feel a lot better about it. And it's expensive.
It's
paying
more
like,
expensive, but
it's worth it though.
it's
it's
widely
absolutely worth it.
available. You know.
It is. It's right
Yeah.
up the street at a
Yeah.
station we have. An Amico station that has it.
So it's interesting. So I'm going to start using it like again in the lawnmower and
Yeah, it just
weed
prevents.
eaters and
If you're diligent and you don't leave fuel sitting in it, like at the end of the season with the lawnmower, run it out of gas.
Mhm.
That will help. But there's still residue in there that will mess it up. Yep.
Yep.
I think that's what killed my chainsaw eventually. I mean, I'm not unhappy with 34 years of service, right?
No.
But it was still in such good shape. I was like, I want to get this to work. I really want to get it to work. And I tossed it in the dumpster or in the metal bin at the recycling center the other day. And I was like, I saluted it as it went in.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's anything else? Nothing.
Nope.
Nada.
I eagerly await my new iPhone.
Well,
See
you
how it
don't
goes.
have anything else to talk about.
Let's see. Wait a minute. We could probably come up with something.
No. Already 11:15. People
Yeah.
want to go. All right. Well, thanks, Spence. Thanks, God. Nick, if you can hear us there, thanks. I hope he didn't fall in something.
So is he laying in the background? We can't see it
I don't know. Maybe
on
he
the
is.
ground. Nick,
Hopefully,
yeah.
hopefully he's on the phone. All right.
I'll let you know if I decide to buy Microsoft Flight Simulator. I don't know if it's going to work right on this machine, my most powerful machine. I may be so far behind with graphics and all that it might not be
Yeah,
worth
it's
it.
gonna go.
But I mean, I have the 8-core. I haven't. I didn't upgrade the video card much when I did this. I did a slight upgrade, and that was 4 years ago. So it's probably not going to be up to
It's
snuff.
all right. It's fine.
If I just lose resolution for speed, that's fine. But the graphics on this, I looked at some of the stuff that are in this thing. It is incredible. You look, some of the graphics, you can be an F-14 taken off from not an F-14. I guess it could be it's gone now from the Navy. You don't have it anymore. But the jet taking off from an aircraft carrier, and it looks like a movie. It's it's great.
Oh. All right. So thanks, guys. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie and Donna, Dina, Arlington, Micha, Eleanor, Sarid. Thank you, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us with any kind of questions at computers2know.com. Again, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Nick is on WAAV in Wilmington, 980 The Wave. And Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., Nick and Brian do the Infection podcast, survival games on Twitch. Till next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.